don't just stay in the shallow end. Join us on a DFS deep dive on For Frequency's Sake. And now here are your hosts, Brian Craighead and Jordan Kearney.
What's up? We are back with the DFS deep dive like every Friday, a little bit later tonight. Normally we get on at 7:15. Got a little Christmas program to go to, so about a half hour late, and we're going to go through the games real quick, go through the positions real quick. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit short. Brian's again out. He's had a rough go with some of the medical things, so hopefully he gets better. Ready to have him back, that's for sure. All right, we're going to roll through the Week 13 slate. If you're like me and a Cowboys fan, you can be excited because we finally beat a team with a winning record. Worst part about it was the fact that it took forever to finally take the lead and get ahead. I was pretty mad at the TV after halftime. It seemed like we just kept blowing leads and we couldn't get anything going, and then the defense decided to show up when they could. All right. So rolling through this here, pretty good slate last week. Kyron Williams, I talked about him when we were on the show Friday night. I really liked him, so that was really fun to see him kind of go off. It sucks because we really don't have the same kind of value that we had on him, and he's going to be, he's in a just a little bit different matchup too. So with that being said, let's roll through the games here. So to start it off, we got the Broncos at the Texans, and probably one of the better games of the year or of the week. 47.5 point total, and a 3-point spread. We got the Texans are favored at home here. So we've seen CJ Stroud really kind of blow up the last few weeks. He's finally priced all the way up. He's the second highest priced quarterback on the slate, which kind of makes it tough to pay up for. But he can do it, and he's going to continue to do it. The Broncos defense is pretty weak. They have been playing a lot better. I actually do have some interest in Russell Wilson this week too. I think it should be a closer game. You can score on Houston. You can run on Houston. So there's a few things you can do with that game. But I like the game environment. I think it stays close. Then you got Miami and Washington in the highest game on the slate, over 49.5 point total. Miami given 9.5 points here. He's got to go to Washington. Their defense is good, but it's not great. I really like Tyreek Hill in this spot. He had a Q tag for a little while, but he's gotten better. And then I like the Washington side of the game. I like Sam Howell at home. They're going to have to sling it. He's super easy to stack. So I do think you can really get up there with Sam Howell. And I think you can stack that side of the game. The worry of a blowout, you don't know if it's going to blow out or not. But we saw this with Miami, and if I'm not mistaken, the Panthers not that long ago. The Panthers came out and took a 2-touchdown lead. And Miami really had to fight to get back in that one. So it really exploded. That was week 6. Miami ended up going up 14-0 to start the game, and Miami came back and rattled off 28 straight points before the fourth quarter. So if Washington can get ahead in that game, I really like that game to maybe blow up. Then we've got San Francisco at Philly. A lot of people are targeting this game. Both defenses can be beat through the air. You're talking about 2 of the top 5 defenses in the league. Over under 47.5, and Philadelphia right now is a home dog. Some of their wins have been ugly, but they're still 10-1, and San Francisco went through that little rough patch as well. So I think the line's moving a little bit in favor of the Eagles. Actually, no, it's still I still have it at 3 points to the 49ers. So we'll see if that changes at all. And then the last game that I think we can target, Detroit at New Orleans. Over under 46.5. Detroit minus 4.5 points. New Orleans defense has been pretty okay all season long. So I'd be kind of interested here to see how it's kind of play out. They're a little bit better against the run than they are the pass, so we could see Detroit maybe have to throw it. And Jared Goff's priced nice, so we'll have to see what happens. Games fade. The Jets over under 33.5 point total. Atlanta -2. It's kind of been a quarterback carousel for both these teams. Ritter was out for a little bit, so they went to Heineke. Now Heineke's hurt, so they're back to Ritter. The Jets have kind of given up on Zach Wilson, so they've got Tim Boyle out there starting. I mean, God, it's only been 12 weeks. Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and they've already got the guy designated for return. So they're real desperate, and they're still kind of clinging to a spot. I mean, they're 4-7. Not that their hopes. I mean, the way the AFC is going right now, their hopes of a playoff playoff shot aren't completely and totally out the window. But they're going to need some help bad, and it's going to have to happen before Rodgers comes back. And then the other one, I am targeting this game a little bit, but just one side. But it's Carolina at Tampa Bay, over under 36.5. Tampa Bay -5. I have Tampa Bay given a touchdown at least. They are. I think they should roll through this Carolina team. Granted, now Carolina is. They did hire. So here we go with. Could be kind of like the Raiders when they fired Josh McDaniels. Maybe they play inspired. But Tampa Bay's got a real good run defense, so they're going to make Bryce Young try to beat them, and Young just hasn't looked good all along. So having said that, like I said, I'm going to keep it kind of short and sweet tonight. We're going to roll through. I don't have my article up yet. Just in a hectic week coming back from a good holiday. Speaking of the holiday, hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Mine was great. Didn't win a ton of money, but won some stuff. Had a good time with family and friends. So with that being said, break into a commercial, and then I'm going to cover quarterback and running backs, and then we'll hit another commercial after that, and then we'll blow through the rest of it here. So stick with me, strap in. It's going to be a quick one. Enjoy the commercial from Remodeling.
Serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. And with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715. For Fantasy's Sake has teamed up with Route 96 Boutique to raise a little more cash for Toys for Tots this season. From September 10th until the end of November, 10% of all purchases made with Route 96 on Sundays will be donated to us for our Toys for Tots drive. At Route 96, they believe in girl power. They want a place that people of all shapes and sizes can shop and feel empowered and beautiful. They want you to be the best you possible, and they are committed to bringing you different styles while also providing some basics to express the true you. You can find them on Facebook and at route96boutique.com.
All right. Durham Remodeling, Route 96. Check them both out. Figured I'd get two of the commercials out of the way here real quick. And now we're going to get up to my lineup here. I always start off my week with just entering all the free contests. They've got usually, I think they got the Guinness free contest on DraftKings, and then Clay Matthews. You beat Clay Matthews and you beat something else and you get a free ticket. I think it's only one ticket. Per person though. So, but if you look at my lineup, it starts off Brock Purdy, Rashad White, Javonte Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Curtis Samuel, Greg Dortch, George Kittle, Michael Pittman Jr., and then the Bucs defense. Kind of just going off of what I was thinking here. The trying to target that Eagles 49ers game. And I think I'm going to get away from it a little bit. Just because I think there's a couple better spots. I think the Miami game could be a little bit better. I think the San Francisco Eagles game is either going to be a shootout or a defensive battle. I do think it's more of a shootout, but who knows what's going to happen. That was the way I thought about the Bills and Eagles game, and it was pretty slow up until the second half. In the second half, it really popped off. So going through the quarterback position here, let's take a look. We'll start with cream of the crop, Jalen Hurts going up against San Francisco. I don't like paying all the way up for Jalen Hurts this week. I think you could go down to CJ Stroud for $100 cheaper. I think Stroud's got the little bit better matchup. San Francisco, I think, can get some pressure on Philadelphia. So you got CJ Stroud, I don't mind him. Justin Herbert, I'm going to stand by it. The guy is he just doesn't get it done for me. He had the one big pop game at 32, and then at 7,600 at 25. 25 points just doesn't get you there at that point. So you really need a 32 to 36 point game out of this guy, and I just don't think it's going to be competitive enough against New England. And at $8,000, I'm not paying for it. When I first looked at everything, Tua was kind of my go-to, but trying to stack Tua with Tyreek Hill, because that's really what you want, is it's tough. You start with him, you go with Hill, and Hill's the highest owned. You only have $4,600 remaining. I mean, you can make it work because there are some value out there, but I might have some Tua, but not a lot. Kyler Murray at $7K, I think that's a little pricey for him going up against Pittsburgh. Detroit, Jared Goff going against New Orleans. I like the spot for Jared Goff, but I think I think you can get a little bit more value down here in this next guy. That's Sam Howell. I really like Sam Howell. I really like Brock Purdy, just because you could do so much with those guys. They have the upside. Sam Howell at home has been really, really good. 20 points at home against the Giants. Even on the road, he's been good. Against Philly at 34.9. At home against Chicago, 30 points. He slings the ball. I mean, he throws it. He's thrown it at least 44 times in his last 5 games. So this is a change. I think he's going to have to throw it again. I like him a little bit more than I do Brock Purdy, just because, if they get going, which it might be tough against the defense, I don't know. I don't think that it could be all there. I think they could I think it's enough game to where he's going to have to do something. And I think the Eagles make him beat them. So I don't know. You can pick your poison here. I think Purdy's got more weapons than Sam Howell does, but Sam Howell's the cheaper stack. I'm staying away from Stafford against Cleveland. Russell Wilson right now is the highest owned quarterback on the slate. We'll see how that kind of pans out. Usually it changes a lot by Sunday, but I don't mind the spot for Russell Wilson at all going up against Houston. We know Houston can be scored on. Derek Carr, the Lions haven't been the greatest, but I just don't like Derek Carr. Baker Mayfield was a chalk quarterback last week. I've never been a real big Baker Mayfield guy. He does, he has one every once in a while, but I don't think this is it for him. I think Rashad White, I think he carries the load here and really has a huge game. Gardner Minshew going against Tennessee. They are a pass funnel defense, so Minshew could have an okay game, but it seems like he's got to rush something in just to get going. And even I think he rushed a touchdown in last week and still only 15 points. So it's a little tough for me to get to Minshew here too. Oh, sorry, I thought my computer froze. That was weird. I don't like Will Levis. Kenny Pickett kind of interests me at 5,100. He had a little bit of a resurgence last week. Still didn't do a whole lot, and really hasn't done a whole lot. But the Cardinals just gave up a ton of points, mostly to the running back. But you never know. And then anything below that, I'm not on it. So it's a real small quarterback pool for me. I think I have like 6 guys in my article. And like I said, I'll get that article posted here a little bit later tonight or tomorrow morning, one of the two. Then you move on to running backs. Christian McCaffrey going up against the first, Christian McCaffrey to me is he's matchup proof, and you're going to need to lean on him, especially in the passing game. So I do think that Philadelphia's defense is beatable on the ground, but it's tough to pay up for Christian McCaffrey at 9K. He's a back piece. You'd go Purdy, McCaffrey, Ayuk, but I still think that's still a pretty expensive stack. So if you went with Purdy, McCaffrey, Ayuk, I mean, you can make it work. I mean, you have about as much as you had you had Tua and when you had Tua and Hill. But I mean, you could switch out McCaffrey, put in George Kittle, which Kittle's been lighting it up lately. Philadelphia is a lot less good against the pass and the tight end than the run. So I mean, you can do that and still have 5K left. So I like that spot. So I'm kind of staying away from McCaffrey. Eckler's kind of in the same boat. I just don't think that game is, I don't think New England keeps it close, or it's, the Chargers tend to play to their competition. So I could see them playing down and really not doing a whole lot. Alvin Kamara, same thing. He's got to get the volume. Detroit's defense has been better against the run. But, Kamara's getting the looks, which, I mean, he's getting, at least 5 targets. But you need kind of this 14 target game. You need to have him see double-digit targets to really get there. Now, if Chris Olave's out, they're already without Michael Thomas. If they're without Chris Olave, I do think that Kamara could definitely be more involved. Probably even Taysom Hill. I could see Taysom Hill maybe lining up out on the out and running some routes. I'm kind of staying away from this whole thing of the Dolphins. The Dolphins running game. Mostert's back. A-Chain shook his Q tag. And then you got Jeff Wilson Jr. also waiting. So those 3 guys, they're all going to be involved. They're going up against Washington. Washington's not great against anything on defense, but I'm kind of staying away from there, especially at those prices. Kyron Williams, dude, lit it up last week. He's the workhorse. He's the bell cow. He's the same guy that he was before he got hurt, and he came back and showed it. They said snap counts, and they could limit snap counts because he just blew him out of the water. 16 rushes, 143 yards, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 61. He scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, the guy just lit it up. I mean, you look at when he was back in week 6, I mean, he did the same thing. So he's all the way involved. 7,200. There's still some meat on the bone. It's a tougher matchup, but I think he can. I don't think you can match up with the guy. I think he's just too good. Derrick Henry, I was all over him last week. His price jumped up. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. Just he was getting the volume. 18 attempts for 76 yards. He got 2 targets, 1 reception. He punched in 2 touchdowns. I mean, it still only got you 20 points. At that price, it's only 3x. So you need a little bit more. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, one and the same. They're still splitting. Gibbs is getting more passing down work. So if I was going to match up, if I was going to play Goff, you maybe stack him with Gibbs and Amon-Ra. I think they're just, for a 50-50 share, I'd rather pay down and, pick between, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren because I think they have similar upside in their matchup. Bijan Robinson, shout out to Brian for the call on Bijan last week. He went off 91 yards, 6 targets, 3 catches for 32. He had 2 touchdowns. Brian had a couple good calls last week. If I married up my lineup with a couple of his calls, I bet I win $1 million because Robinson and Pat Fryermuth both just huge games. DeAndre Swift, I'm kind of staying away from that. I think that's a passing game. I mean, he's got a solid floor. They're going to continue to give him the volume. I mean, he's going to get you at least 10 points, or at least he should each week. But I'm staying away from him. Breece Hall has a Q tag, full participant, but he remains questionable. I mean, he's in the volume. Last week, kind of the game script got out of hand, so he really didn't do a whole lot. But, I mean, he's just heavily involved in the passing game. So, I mean, when they are falling behind, Breece Hall's the one who's getting the check down. So, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 24 yards. No touchdowns or anything like that, but still put up 12 points in a blowout. Rachaad White, that's probably my favorite person right now. He'll probably get a lot of my lineups. I'm probably going to lock him in. But I love Rachaad White here. My favorite play on the slate. I was, really high on Tony Pollard when they played Carolina, and it didn't really pan out. But Rachaad White's getting the volume. Nobody else is out there. And then right here in this $1,000 range to just under $6,000 is kind of where I'm going to be cooking this week. Ramondre Stevenson, same thing, going up against the Chargers. Chargers defense doesn't scare me a whole lot. And Stevenson's been the one bright side for this team here. He's getting all the work. 20 rushes in week 10, 21 in week 12. He's getting 4, 5, 6, 6, 5. I mean, he's getting targets, 21 points. I mean, this is the guy you want, and he's the same thing as Rachaad White. So I think I'd probably plug in these two guys and call it a day, just in my opinion. I mean, you could even get down to Singletary and Pierce split the carries evenly. Singletary had 6 carries, didn't do much with them. Pierce had 5, didn't do much with them, but Singletary got all the passing game work. Pierce got 1 target. Singletary got 7 targets and 6 receptions for 54 yards. Not a killer score like he has been the last couple weeks, but against Denver defense, I think he's got a shot. Kind of staying away from James Conner. Pittsburgh's defense is pretty good. Not saying that you can't get there, not saying that he can't. Javonte Williams is another guy that I had in my first look lineup just because he fit. $5,700. He's the same way. They're starting to give him the ball. He's starting to carry the rock more. 18 carries, 65 yards. He's involved in the passing game. Samaje Perine gets out there in the passing game for sure and steals some targets and steals some rushes, but it's Javonte Williams' backfield. Ford's just kind of gets all the work. They were kind of getting blown out last week, but I mean, he gets the targets, he gets the carries. I think he's got a safe floor of at least 10 points every game. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, kind of the same player. It just depends on who's going to get hot. I mean, they're still splitting 50-50. Jalen Warren's getting all the passing down work. So it could just be who cooks and who starts out. Somebody who's popped up as a real good value is Zach Moss. He is right now the highest owned running back on the slate, almost 50% owned in your cash games. So, if you're going to play cash games, you're just going to plug in Zach Moss and move on. $4,600. They're not going to have Jonathan Taylor for a little bit. Tennessee, the matchup sucks because Tennessee is pretty decent against the run. But, Zach Moss, when Jonathan Taylor was out, Zach Moss is getting all work. I mean, there wasn't anybody else. 23 for 165, 18 for 70, 18 for 57. I mean, he was getting 20 touches a game and involved in passing game work. So, I mean, there's a lot of upside. You could play 3 running backs this week and, nobody's going to be mad at you. But, yeah, I mean, that's going to do it. I think Zach Moss is as low as I'm going at 4,600 when it comes to the running back position. Like I said, we're going to move a little quick through the wide receivers, tight ends, and defense when we get back from this message from Ryan Allison Tattoo.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
Yeah, man, if you haven't seen Ryan's work, go to the For Frequency Sake page, go to my page, like Ryan Allison Tattoo on Facebook. He just did a piece, a Naruto piece for all you people who are Naruto. I don't know how you pronounce it. I like anime, just not that. So he just did a sweet piece on him. Fantastic. He had a guy who came and sat for 3 days, and he did a piece in 3 days, and it looks phenomenal. Check him out, Ryan Allison Tattoo. Now we're going to jump into wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, of course, somebody who I had in my first look. Really, really, really like Tyreek Hill. And the guy gets you, he's got a 27.5 point, fantasy points per game. He does need one of these pop games, though. He kind of needs, at almost 10K, he's going to need to get you 40 points at least. Does he have it in him? Absolutely. Has he gotten there this year yet? Just in week 1. The matchup good enough here. It's just a matter of, do they keep the game competitive? Keenan Allen's got a Q tag right now. Missed practice Wednesday and Thursday, and then returned in a limited session on Friday. So, Keenan Allen's kind of been the guy for the Chargers. So in this, it makes me think that maybe maybe Austin Eckler has a little bit of upside here. So, keep an eye on that. If he doesn't play, I think Eckler might be a smash play in that matchup. AJ Brown, I'm probably going to keep him with my Jalen Hurts stacks. Like I said, you can beat San Francisco through the air. He had a little bit of a down week last week. He kind of get hot, but he started to kind of pick up at the end of the game. But yeah, the last 2 weeks have been kind of duds for AJ Brown, 1.8 points and 14.7. So I do fully expect him to get him rolling again. Amon-Ra St. Brown. If I'm playing Goff, I'm playing St. Brown. I'm probably not doing him as a standalone play. Cooper Kupp, staying away from Cooper Kupp until he can show me something. And then Cleveland's just got a really good defense, so I don't like the matchup. Ken has been a little bit better against the pass, and they have the run. So I don't think I'll have any Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Jalen Waddle, if you want to save the money and you want to say, I think Jalen Waddle is going to be the one. You can get contrarian a little bit. He did have 8 targets for 114 yards last week, 22.4 points. If he puts up 22 points at 7,600, it's still not quite getting you there, but it saves you some money in your Tua stack. Tank has been on fire. He's kind of the same as when CJ Stroud's cooking, Tank Dell seems to be cooking. They're going to be, it looks like it might be without Noah Brown again. So, Tank Dell was limited after missing Wednesday's practice. So he's limited on Thursday and Friday. But, if CJ Stroud's cooking, it's probably Tank Dell and Collins. And, Schultz really hasn't been involved a whole lot lately, but it could be Schultz too. So just keep an eye on that injury. Devonta Smith, kind of the same thing as Jalen Waddle. If you're going to build with Hurts, you could get contrarian and say, Devonta Smith's going to be the guy. The last 2 weeks, he really has. Honestly, the last 4 weeks, he's put up respectable scores. Again, at 7,300, he kind of needs one of these 26-point games to really get you there. That puts you at almost 4x. So you just need that game to kind of pop off. Brandon Ayuk, I like Brandon Ayuk. I like the other side of this game a little bit more in the passing. Ayuk's, the game scripts have kind of really driven him out. They blew out Jacksonville. He had a really good score against Tampa Bay, but that's because he was doing anything. And the same thing against Seattle, 31-13, and just game scripted out, really. Somebody that everybody seems to love. He's the second highest owned wide receiver on the slate behind Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman Jr. He had double-digit targets last week. Him and Josh Downs, if I'm not mistaken, caught 10 of them for 107. I was really on Josh Downs last week, and Pittman ended up being the guy. Downs put up a respectable score, but if against Tennessee, I like both of them. If you get to either one, Puka Nacua, same thing. I don't like the matchup going up against Cleveland, but if I go with somebody, if I really wanted to get there, I think that you could go for Puka. His production's really dropped off since Cooper Kupp came back. Especially with Kyron Williams coming back too. I think the Rams lean on the run a little more. Chris Olave was in concussion protocol, listed as questionable. He had a full showing on Friday, so he looks to play. If you're going to do Jared Goff, I think you could do Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and bring it back with Olave. I'm not going to have Derek Carr, so but Olave's been getting it done lately. Nico Collins, I'm going to stack him with same thing. Stack him with CJ Stroud. I don't know if I want to play him standalone, but if Noah Brown's not going to play, I know Noah Brown's still questionable. Andy missed practice on Friday, so I really do think Noah Brown doesn't play. I think that locks in Nico Collins for snaps and targets. Adam Thielen, huge price drop. He's at 6,600 right now. He was at 73, so he dropped $700. But I really think that Tampa Bay gets after Bryce Young here. They're going to make Bryce Young try to beat him. They can be beat through the air. So, at 6,600, I really like that price for Adam Thielen for what he was doing, especially at the beginning of the season. Staying away from Derek Carr, or no, I'm sorry, not Derek Carr, but Baker Mayfield and Chris Godwin. Deebo Samuel, kind of the same thing as Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith. He's kind of playing second fiddle, honestly third fiddle on the San Francisco passing game. And he's more of a gadget guy. So if they're going to start pulling out some trick plays and getting Samuel involved, I think that's how they can really beat the Eagles. So we'll have to see how that goes here. I don't like the matchup for, DeAndre Hopkins. He's kind of been the guy for Levis, but Levis has really regressed since his really pop game. Garrett Wilson, Tim Boyle's he kind of had me nervous last week. I've got Garrett Wilson in season long. I started him, and at first he was not getting any targets. Then he ended up coming up with 10 targets for 7 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. So he really kind of saved his fantasy day with that. So as long as he's getting the volume, I mean, at 6K, who else is getting volume like that? Really nobody. Amari Cooper, same thing. Thompson Robinson, I don't know if he's going to be back. He took a huge shot last week. And then Amari Cooper ended up coming and taking a shot too. But quarterback play is really hurting those guys. Terry McLaurin, I think you stack him with Sam Howell. He just hasn't really done it all year long. I mean, he's had one game over 20 points at 5,500. And even the 20-pointer, that's only it's 4x, which is fine. But I mean, they're going to have to throw it. But I honestly like the two cheaper guys on Washington that I like him. Cortland Sutton, I don't mind Cortland Sutton. You're doing a CJ Stroud lineup. I think you bring it back with Cortland Sutton. Marquise Brown is questionable with the heel again. Didn't practice at all. Brown didn't practice during week 13 to prep due to a heel injury. So he's trending in the right direction though. Last week he had 12 targets. If he sits, I love Greg Dortch and Trey McBride. So keep an eye out for that one. Greg Dortch was somebody I was already on. He's $3,700. He's getting double-digit targets the last few weeks. So Marquise Brown is out. I'm all over Greg Dortch. I'll lock him in too. Josh Downs, same thing. He got double-digit targets at 5,100. 13 targets. He's having a real good. He's been having a good season. He's a little sporadic, but he just has to. He's getting the volume. He has to get in the end zone and do something after the catch. I'd be more interested in Pittsburgh's running game. Pittsburgh came out playing inspired after they fired the offensive coordinator. So probably see a little regression here. I don't like Drake London against the Jets defense. George Pickens kind of the same boat as Deontay Johnson. I think Pickens has the higher upside, so I'd be kind of interested there to see that. Kind of staying away from Jerry Jeudy ever since Steve Smith just roasted him on I think it was I think it was Monday night. I can't remember, but he just laid into him. Jerry Jeudy has just been awful. It's so funny, but at 4,700, if he's got to get you, 16 points, 20 points almost, and he just hasn't done it all year. Jahan Dotson, that's somebody that I was all over him and Curtis Samuel. The price isn't much difference if you need to save $500. Curtis Samuel's coming off a nine reception game, 12 target game. And they're at home. He's been doing a little bit better at home. I mean, how many targets does he have? No, I guess 41. He's played so 41 on the road to 22 at home. But if you look at here, he's got 200 yards at home compared to 243. So on the road. So he plays a little bit better at home. Jahan Dotson, he's involved. He's getting, it's kind of a three-headed monster. It just really depends on who's hot. Curtis Samuel at the cheaper price, I like that. And then after that, you get down to Greg Dortch. This guy's been pretty good. 8 targets, 9 targets the last 2 weeks. If he just does something with him, the touchdown kind of saved his week last week. But if he can do something with the volume, then I think he's massively underpriced for what his role is about to be. You could even get down to Rondale Moore. He's kind of been playing second fiddle. Really hasn't seen a whole lot, but he's been on the field a lot more than Greg Dortch has all year. It's just a matter of, if Hollywood Brown's out, I do think you could get probably down to Rondale Moore. But if Brown's playing, I think Rondale Moore is an afterthought. Really, I think that's kind of about as low as I can go. The $3,400 is probably about it. Yeah, I think that's where we end with wide receiver, and then jumping into tight end. You've got George Kittle. I like pairing him with Brock Purdy. He's been on fire lately, so I don't mind George Kittle. Sam Laporta, he had a better week last week. 17.7 points. I mean, and I think he was the highest scoring tight end on Thanksgiving. So he had a really good game. Taysom Hill, I think he could be a little bit more involved. They're without Rashid Shaheed. They're without Michael Thomas. So you're talking Chris Olave. And then, oh God, who's the TP something or other? Where is he at? I think he's priced in the AP Perry. So AT Perry could, he could slot in as the number 2 wide receiver. So that kind of makes me a little bit more interested in, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, that kind of thing. Dalton Schultz is out. Ooh, that's good news. Ruled out. Didn't practice all week. So no Dalton Schultz. So who is the backup tight end in Houston? Brevin Jordan. Game log. Seeing some targets, but now he moves up into the number 1 spot for a Texans team. I mean, at 2,500 Stone Men for a tight end, that's not a bad way to kind of build the slate, I guess. So we'll have to see how that one plays out, see what they say there. But yeah, Dalton Schultz being out, that's huge. I mean, especially for Tank Dell and Nico Collins. It really, God, even Devin Singletary, give them some more targets, spread the ball around. Trey McBride, who's been fantastic, listed as questionable, but 14, 5, 9, 7, 9 targets. The guy's just getting it done. Just watch the Q tag. There's a lot of those this week. Dallas Goedert, doubtful. Pat Fryermuth, again, shout out to Brian. Just where do you come from? Done it. He was good last year. Kind of was hurt a little bit in the middle of the season. Hadn't really done anything, and then popped for 9 receptions, 120 yards. Just if you were on him last week, you're a genius. David Njoku's been getting double-digit targets. Got 9 last week, 15 the week before, 9, 6. The guy's just getting a ton of volume for 4,100. So I like Njoku. Kyle Pitts, no thank you. Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee's usually good for 1 pop game a year, and that was last week. 5 catches, 5 targets, 2 touchdowns, 29 yards. He usually has one where he catches multiple touchdowns. Don't let that fool you. Tyler Higbee is not a fantasy football producer. I don't mind Logan Thomas if you want to stack him with Sam Howell. Gerald Everett, Juwan Johnson, Donald Parham, Jonnu Smith. I don't mind Jonnu Smith. Somebody that I forgot to mention for receivers, Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster in New England. Demario Douglas is ruled out now. So now they don't have Kendrick Bourne. They don't have Demario Douglas. Their wide receivers are Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they're both priced like 34 and 3,800, or 34 and 3,300, 33 and 3,200. I guess if Hunter Henry was going to ever do anything, it's now. But no targets last week, just a 0. Where's Mike Gesicki? Right here. Gesicki's kind of been, I don't know, he's been better player all year long, I think. 2 targets. Maybe stay away from the passing game altogether. That makes me like the Chargers defense a little bit more, but I'm not paying all the way up for the Chargers defense. So keep an eye on Hunter Henry. Zach Ertz, I think he got released. Yeah, so unclaimed. So Zach Ertz isn't even on the team anymore. Chico Okonkwo, not bad. Tyler Conklin, I like Tyler Conklin. He gets volume. That's the biggest thing. He sees targets. He's on the field. He's running routes. But after that, Brevin Jordan and maybe Mike Gesicki as far as tight ends for cheap ones. But I think you're going to have to stay in this 4K range to really get something here. Then if we're going to defense, blow through this defense real quick. Like I said, I don't like paying all the way up. I don't like the Chargers against New England. I think Washington can probably score on me. Arizona is just as wily. That makes me, not really like Pittsburgh a whole lot. The Rams against Cleveland is not a bad one. But I think where I'm staying is going to be $3,600 at Panthers. Bryce Young's going to throw the ball. Bryce Young's going to make mistakes. So I don't mind that. I don't mind the Jets at 35. I don't mind the Falcons at 34. The Texans and Denver. Denver's been playing really good ball lately. And the Texans really haven't shown that they stop anybody. I don't mind the Colts against Tennessee and Will Levis. Browns against the Rams, no. 49ers, no. Lions, no thanks. I mean, I don't know. Derek Carr likes to throw pick sixes, so we'll see. But honestly, I don't think any lower than that. I think I'm going to be cooking right around the Bucks at 3,600. You get to the Saints at 2,700. I don't mind that one, just for the simple fact that we've seen Jared Goff not be very great, and he's better at home than he is on the road. So, yeah, you could do something with that there. So if you're just going through and throwing together lineups, I mean, like I said, I like Sam Howell. I like stacking him with Curtis Samuel. I think you could bring it back with a Tyreek Hill. Like I said, I'm kind of be staying in the range of the Rachaad White and the Ramondre Stevenson. So I think if you stack those guys, you come over to the defense. I'm all about the Bucs defense. So now I've got a stack. I got Sam Howell plus Curtis Samuel. Bring back a Tyreek Hill. I like Rachaad White and the Bucs as a little secondary stack there. Tight end. It really depends on what you're looking for and where you think this is going. $4,700 left. I don't think you have to pay all the way down, but if you were going to say, you know what, hey, I'm going to go with somebody who's been getting targets, who's in a decent matchup, you go with David Njoku. Somebody who, like I said, I really like is Greg Dortch at 3,700. That leaves you 6,400 left for the flex spot. Breece Hall. I mean, you get pieces of this other game. I mean, you could play like George Kittle. Nobody will play two tight ends. So you could probably even upgrade at tight end and go somewhere a little bit different. So let's say if you wanted to go on the flex and play, let's say Terry McLaurin, throw Terry McLaurin in there. That gives you $5,000. You could get Trey McBride, who Trey McBride's been good. Hell, you get even to Pat Freiermuth. Still go with oh God, I just lost it. Still go with David Njoku. Or you could even say, you know what? I think Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel are the guys, and that you get all the way to Laporta. So, I mean, and you could even, like I said, pay down defense. If you wanted to get George Kittle, you could say, I want George Kittle. You could pay a defense. You could come out here. Colts, Texans. Like I said, I think I don't mind getting to like the Saints if you wanted to pay all the way down. And that doesn't let you do much different than what you had. So, like I said, I'm kind of stuck here. I kind of like Rachaad White. You could even go with like Zach Moss at the running back position. And then in the flex, that leaves you 6,600. You get to like Adam Thielen. But yeah, I still like my defense. I still like if you went with that and went with the Bucs defense, and then you have a spot 5,700 you can get Javonte Williams. I mean, you could stack up, and then you get to Terry McLaurin here. So you could boom throw in Terry McLaurin. So now you have a Sam Howell +2 stack, bring back of Tyreek Hill. You got a mini stack with Rachaad White and the Bucs defense. Zach Moss, who's he's going to get all the work. He's going to be the chalkiest guy, and then Greg Dortch is somebody to kind of help alleviate some salary. This is the biggest thing here is he, like I said, he's got to score 40 points to really get you there. I mean, if you didn't, I mean, what you're saying is basically that game's going to have to pop off like big time. So I mean, there's different ways you can build it. I mean, I'm going to be building it basically all around. I'll be building, around games like I've been doing. It's kind of worked out. It's really worked out to be honest. All right. Card subject to change. Shout out. Oh, did I shout you guys? I don't know. Maybe I don't. What are we talking about here? We're not even asking questions. We're talking basketball. Guys, this is football. Oh, God. Anyway, so all right, so that's going to wrap it up. That puts us right at 45 minutes. We normally go a little bit longer. Just kind of sped through it. Like I said, we got a little bit of a late start. I just had some stuff going on, and with Brian being out, just kind of did it how I was going to do it. So we'll have the article out for you guys to kind of take a look at. Be sure to back on Sunday. Check out all the other podcasts. But Sunday we go live at 10 a.m. Break it down with all the guys. We talk about bets, about DFS, get our last couple licks in before the slate starts. Then stop back here. Hopefully Brian's back next week, and you got me and Brian here 7:50 p.m. on the DFS Deep Dive. You can find me at jfantasy_sports on X. Look me up, Jordan Kernan, on Facebook. Follow along with all that stuff. And that's kind of it, guys. No questions. Everybody's talking basketball on here. So no question. I'll get this article out here tomorrow morning. And yeah, good luck this week.